Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to talk about the different student clubs and chapters at VIT Vellore. So in case you're not aware, there are more than 100 student-led organizations at VIT Vellore, or with all of them working in various different domains. So now with the counseling nearing in and the results already being announced, there are a lot of questions on different topics from VIT Vellore. So I thought this video would be really useful for someone who's planning to come to this college. So yeah, without wasting any more time, let's get started. So this is how the video is going to be structured. Firstly, I'm going to share how the student clubs and chapters work at VIT Vellore, followed by some tips for getting into your desired club, and then I'm going to share some tips on how I maximize my time in these student organizations and suggestions for you as well. Finally, I'll be answering two important questions which all the freshers have asked me for a long time. So like, are these student clubs and chapters worth it? And secondly, which club or chapter should I join and why? So I hope you stay tuned in till the end, and let's get started. So the recruitment for the student clubs and chapters for the freshers are initiated in the second semester, where more than 100 clubs and chapters start recruiting freshers for the position of core members, which is the junior most position in a club or chapter. So once you join in as a core member, after clearing the interview and the written rounds, you given work, and then eventually with time you progress and you may even become a board member depending on your performance. So the board members, which are basically 10 in number in most of the organizations, and these board members are responsible for running the whole NGO or whatever you are involved in, be it a team or a student organization. So yeah, once you become the board member, the tenure of a board member generally is from 1 to 1.5 years, where you lead the club, after which you elect the next board members who then further lead the organization of the club. So yeah, overall it is an amazing experience. And now let's move on to the second point. So the tips for recruitment. So for the technical clubs, you need to do a bit of homework by studying out the field they work in, to basically show that you're really interested in pursuing and have a passion for what their organization does. And like, for most of the clubs, the entry barrier isn't very high, and they basically look for some enthusiasm and some background knowledge so that you can convince them that you're actually interested in what they do. So for example, for car racing teams, so I myself gave the interview and qualified for Pravega Racing. So if you go to your campus, you'll know Pravega Racing. It is a Formula 1 student organization, and it was like, I entered college in 2017 and it was the best Formula 1 student team in India in 2016. So it was a really hyped up club, and it did deserve it, as those people worked really hard. So yeah, for the car racing teams, there are two sources which you could use from my personal experience. Firstly, there's a YouTube channel known as Engineering Explained. So he explains the basic workings of a car in a very easy and like friendly way. So secondly, if you want to go into more details, you could refer to the book known as Automotive Mechanics by Cruz and Anglin. So this is a very famous book, and you'll actually even use it when you take a course related to automotive mechanics in your further years. So now for the CSE technical clubs, mostly you'll be given a programming problem to solve. So again, you would need to learn some amount of coding to actually get into these student clubs or chapters. So yeah, these are my tips for technical clubs. Let's talk about the NGOs. So getting into the NGOs isn't very difficult. All you need is some good soft skills, and you need to be like a bit socially responsible and aware of what you're saying. And basically the entry barrier here is a bit lower than the technical clubs, because they don't require any specific hard skills, though all the NGOs would definitely value someone who's good in Photoshop, video editing, or some of these skills which they require for making different posters and publishing it on different social media handles. So let's talk about different other clubs that you will come across and how their recruitment process works. So for clubs like the music club and the dance club, the literary clubs, and clubs like DebSoc, which is Debate Society of VIT, and Toastmasters. So clubs like DebSoc and Toastmasters focus heavily on speaking skills. So their interview process includes the speaking part, and there are debate rounds, and there are rounds where you have to speak up on topics, and then you're evaluated then and there, and you're finalized or moved on to the next round. And for clubs like the music club and the dance club, they require a certain threshold level of the skills in their particular domains. And finally, for the literary clubs, their recruitment process, I'm not very well aware, but I guess if you're passionate for this, like for whatever like domain they work in, getting in wouldn't be very difficult. And finally, I would like to conclude by saying getting into your dream club or chapter is not difficult, and you'll again get a chance in the upcoming semesters to again set for recruitments, and you can definitely show your passion through those recruitment processes. So don't get too worried, and if you whatever your dream club or whatever your desired club or chapter is, you'll definitely get in. But for some certain clubs or chapters, you'll have to do some extra homework to basically crack or get in. So in this part of the video, I'm going to talk about the tips to make the most out of these student organizations. So my first point would be to network a lot, as student organizations give you a chance to meet new people from different branches, which you may not get through your classes in the first semester, where your batchmates are from the same branch. And secondly, it'll give you an exposure to the diversity of students that are represented in VIT, and it'll give you a great chance to meet people from all across India and from various different spheres of life. So please make the most out of it. Secondly, I would say try to take on responsibilities in the clubs and chapters. They will help you to get an experience and get some unique experiences which you can speak about during your interviews. And you will also get an experience of leading these organizations, maybe as a board member if you work hard initially. And it will also develop your soft skills and basically increase your self-confidence. And it will also boost your CV, and you'll have some things to speak about during your interviews. So yeah, this is a major tip. Don't just be a part of club and organization for the sake of it. If you're there, you're giving your time, please give your best. And finally, try to learn a new skill, maybe a hard skill, something like you can learn video editing or photo editing, as I myself learned video editing for an NGO which I was working for. So yeah, you could easily learn these hard skills which are transferable to other places as well. So yeah, these are my tips for making the most out of these organizations. So in this segment of the video, I'm going to talk about which club should you join and why. So the answer to this is this totally depends on your interests, and it should not be driven based on future prospects. Getting into the Google Developers Club or the Firefox Club or whatever the clubs are won't guarantee you a place in placements in Google or something like that. So please just don't solely depend on the name of the club and not do something that you're not passionate about, as college is the best time when you can work on your passions and develop your skills. So use this time very cautiously. And finally, I would say 1 or 2 clubs are enough, and you won't be able to manage more of them. And what my suggestion is, try to maintain a decent GPA, and 1 or 2 clubs would give you enough experiences to talk about in your interviews and basically build a profile. And in case you're not sure which club or chapter you should join, use this time, you still have a semester if you're in your first semester, to basically explore and learn new skills and basically decide which club or chapter you want to head into. And in case even if you miss the main recruitments that are there in the second semester for the freshers, you will still have a chance to reapply in your third semester. So yeah, and if you want to know more about the clubs and chapters, you can ask me in the comments, or you can ask your respective seniors who are working in these clubs, and they will let you know the exact scenario of the clubs, as they tend to be very dynamic, and it totally depends on the type of students or the type of recruitments they had and what type of students actually join those organizations. So yeah, this is my answer for which club or chapter should you join and why. So now this brings us to the last part of the video. Now in this part of the video, I'm going to share whether the student clubs and chapters are worth it or not. So this is a question which a lot of my juniors have asked me constantly. So are the student organizations worth it? So according to me, they are totally worth it, but it depends on what you're expecting from them. Treat them as extracurriculars and manage them with your studies. And don't let them take over your academics, as you will surely regret this in your 4th year when you sit for placements and companies will shortlist you just based on your CGPA. So other than that, the good things about the clubs and chapters is that they develop your soft skills and they provide you with unique experiences that may help you to stand apart in the interviews, but they won't help you in getting shortlisted. For that you need to be good in your aptitude and have a decent CGPA. But then student clubs would be giving you some amazing life learnings, and basically it'll be a very important part of your college life. So yes, it has its own special significance on you, but learn to manage time efficiently, and that'll be your the best advice I can give you. And this is a major myth among juniors, so let me address this. No, working in a certain organization or getting a certain board position will not guarantee you or will not be a huge pusher in your placements. It is your overall profile that will make you an attractive candidate. So try to balance out your academics and your extracurriculars. So this brings us to the end of the video, and in case you're interested in knowing more of my experiences and learnings, keep following me, and I'll be sharing more content with you guys very soon. So see you until next time. Bye bye.